Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Mike Vogiatzakis show on this Wednesday night. We've got a great show planned for you. Tonight is not a soundbite show. It's not a political show. This is really going to be a real big reality check for a lot of people here in the city. Winnipeg is hurting, and the people living it know something isn't right. Mike, tonight we're going to talk about, well, I guess what we may feel, but few are willing to say out loud. You know, the things that go on in this city that people just don't want to discuss. They don't want to talk about. They've got it all in their head, and they don't have anybody to communicate with. But that's why we're here. We're going to get that message out tonight and make it nice and crystal clear. We've got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to talk about basically Winnipeg, in a sense, falling apart in a variety of ways. It's all coming up right here with Mike Vogiatzakis right after this.
At Santa Lucia Pizza, you know it's all about the sauce. Did you also know, whether dine-in, takeout, or delivery, our menu is sure to please with a variety of options for the whole family. With quality ingredients for pizza, pasta, Greek, and so much more. Cut cooking out of your dinner plans and let Santa Lucia Pizza do all the work. With large portions, superior taste, great service, remarkable quality, and exceptional value, plus fantastic menu options, and our specialty, of course, pizza. Fresh and piping hot to your door. Pizza, pasta, Greek food, Santa Lucia. It's all about the sauce. Order online at santaluciapizza.com.
Well, so great to be back on a Wednesday night in the middle of a blizzard, Mike. I know you traveled a long way to get here.
Brad.
What?
It's all about the sauce.
It is all about the sauce. Yummy sauce. Delicious.
I know, the snow's coming down pretty good. And,
starting to. I mean,
it's Winnipeg.
Western Manitoba's got a lot more than us at this point. But
it's Winnipeg.
It's
what
coming.
do you do, right? We're used to winters. It snows. Actually, it's been pretty good so far this year. We've had a really good winter.
Yeah, climate change, right?
You know, I'm going to say hi to some people, but I want to share a story after I do this, after we come back from whatever we're going to do. But I want to share a story about Undercover Boss.
You have no plan tonight, do you?
No plan.
No plan. On the
just
fly. All right, let's say hi to some people.
Guess who's first?
Gord is up, number one.
Gord. And Kathy Tickle. Hi, everyone. Hey, Ann. Where's Kevin?
Happy birthday, Ann. It was your
Ann,
birthday
happy
this
birthday.
past week, eh? Congratulations.
Paul says, wow, crazy. Paul, what's crazy?
Dang, I need to find Santa Lucia on the island. Yes, you do, Barb. I don't think there is one out that far, but, Mike will wrap one up and send it to you, maybe.
That's right. Susan Alec. Well, you know what, Susan, I got to tell you, your husband worked really hard at the funeral home today. So, give him a hug when he gets home and a big kiss and all that kind of stuff.
You better be home by now.
Oh, yeah, maybe. No, he's caught in the snow somewhere.
Oh.
And then we have Randy.
Randy Stanton, yeah. Leona Peters is here as well. Lots of people just kind of getting signed in at the moment, but...
we didn't advertise the show tonight. We
why
just
not?
Came on. Well,
Didn't know if it was going to happen?
Yeah, I just thought, is it going to happen with all the snow that was supposed to come down? It never really did.
This is white out there as your hair.
Kind of.
Oh!
My hair looks good.
It does on camera.
And I got to tell you a story. This week, Michael McIver, who's been a longtime member of Voyage Funeral Home, 25 years roughly, had a stroke.
Yeah.
And it was all of a sudden, so I hope Mike gets better. Maybe he's in his hospital bed, maybe just watching the show because he's got nothing better to do when you're lying.
Hey,
in
Mike, if you're watching, I hope you're getting better,
buddy.
buddy.
Mike. A speedy recovery, and God be with you with all your strength, and you get healthy and come back to work really quick. But anyways, because
Debbie Kwan says good evening, everyone, but also Diane Wileyman from Sharp, from Regina, actually says freezing rain all afternoon in Regina, now snow, really, really, really ugly here. So it looks like we're going to get it too.
Well, the thing is, we had a service this afternoon at the funeral home, and we had to use that salt on the ground because it was so icy. We didn't want anyone.
Yeah, it was
to
like
fall.
you were walking on a curling rink, eh?
It was crazy. A little bit of everything today. The weather
bubbles
was
everywhere, little
anyways,
dimples.
Because Mike wasn't at work, I had to step in and kind of be a funeral director, which
like work?
I haven't done for a while.
You worked?
But it was really cool because I was working with my son, Josh, And we went out and we got to it, and
So
right away,
Josh did all the work. Okay,
Josh did
now
all
we
the
got it right. I'm just making sure. Josh, if you're watching, we know you did all the work, buddy.
Josh played hockey tonight.
Is he?
But what I noticed right away are things that are wrong with the company. You know, you get in the company van and you're going, hey, why don't you tell me about this? Well, Dad, I told you about this 10 times already, and you didn't do anything about it. So
I thought about telling you, but no, I'm not going there.
as we went through the day, it was like undercover boss. You got to see, you know, what was wrong, how you can make it better, things that guys aren't complaining about, but
Did you
you're
put on your
working
porn
with it.
mustache?
Yeah, you know. But it was really, really cool thing to do, and I probably anyone who's managing a business should actually go work in that business, hands on, and you can make things better. I made some changes the next day. I didn't have to go out today. I had to work a service. But right away I thought, well, I could change this. I can change this. I could change this to make it easier for the guys to work. Because when you have the right equipment, it makes your job a lot easier. So kind of glad that I did that. Not glad that Mike's in the hospital, but kind of glad that I went out, and we had to hire another funeral director today. So that was kind of a last minute thing. Shelley from Steep Rock, Manitoba. There's a big snowstorm. And I used to go fishing in Steep Rock all the time. I love fishing. We were supposed to have a transit protest tomorrow. Oh, before we do that, do you like the lights? These were the City of Winnipeg lights they used to have up. They will put up again someday. Hopefully when just maybe I'll be in charge. But that's how the City of Winnipeg should look. Nice and bright, gives you that Christmas spirit. Are you like me this year where you really don't have that Christmas spirit? You know, it doesn't seem like Christmas this year. How about you, Brad? Do you got the same thing I got, or?
No, I got it, man. It's
got it?
totally Christmas, and I understand why.
But anyways, we were supposed to have that transit protest tomorrow at City Hall.
And?
Just to keep people safe.
Did you cancel it?
I canceled it because of all the snow that's coming, and I know a lot of people were supposed to turn out, but we're going to maybe do it another day. But they're supposed to change the way transit works on the 14th, see if they do or not. But we're just going to cancel it for now. We don't want people coming out in a snowstorm, endangering themselves, you know, waiting at bus stops forever, getting downtown there and being chaos. So we're going to put that on hold temporarily.
All right. So not going to happen tomorrow, but maybe one day soon.
You know,
I think the mayor knows already. I'm
think he knows.
just saying.
I think he knows. Winnipeg firefighters are there tomorrow, actually.
Are they?
And they said they're not going to leave until they get what they need, and that's 40 to 60 extra firefighters. And,
Well,
you know,
that's
it's actually wrong.
That's going to be interesting. Are they taking tents and snow shovels, or what are they doing? I mean,
These guys are brave, strong guys.
I'd love to
and
park
women
myself
there.
down there. You know, that's
But,
fun.
you know, you got to see that they're right. I mean, the City of Winnipeg has grown. There's lots of problems. You hear, I mean, today alone, if you think about all the accidents in the city and the fire trucks everywhere, and the other day I got to watch firsthand where, collision took place right in front of the funeral home, and these paramedics were driving by. They were on their way to a call, and they stopped at that ambulance scene and gave the call to another ambulance, and they were there right away to try and help those people to make sure nobody was injured. And then shortly after, the fire truck came and they did their thing. And, you know, there's way more than you think they do on the scene. They're trying to find the drivers. They're trying to find out what went wrong. They're trying to see how they're going to move the vehicles, how they're going to stop a fire from taking place in that vehicle. There's so much fire trucks do. So, you know, and then I'm glad that they're doing this, and I think they deserve, you know, they're spending $10 million a year, Brad, on overtime. $10 million a year can hire a lot of firefighters.
Sure can.
And why would you pay overtime? I mean, this is a lack of common sense from the mayor and council of the City of Winnipeg.
There's a safety issue involved, too.
Safety issue, burnout, you know, stress on the firefighters and paramedics. You're paying that money anyways, so put it in the budget, use it properly, get more firefighters and paramedics on the street. This way we're not paying that huge overtime bill, and at the end of the day, we're going to save more money. It's common sense, 2 and 2 is 4, you know, basic math when you need to do something like that, and I just don't understand how they're so negligent and pushing something so important so far away. And then today I found out, I talked to Toronto Transit the other day, and they were telling me about their electric buses, 1.45 hours, 2 hours the most. So Toronto Transit, all these new buses that they bought are sitting in a yard. They're not using them.
Toronto, Edmonton, Calgary, they're all in that stuck mode, and Winnipeg's going to be in the exact same mode right away.
Well, I mean, when you're running a bus for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, where's that get you?
Nowhere.
And then you got to park the bus already. Waste of money. This is where your tax money is going. It's a failure.
We knew these batteries weren't going to last in the winter and hold up.
And what happens? You hear about all these fires on,
And
these
once
vehicles.
they blow, man, if you get locked in, you're done.
So what happens if a bus gets into a collision? Are we maybe in a possibility where there's a fire on the bus? I don't know where the batteries are in the bus. I take it they're
That's one
in the back of the
massive
bus.
cremation is what's going to happen.
It's just, we need to learn from our mistakes. And they brought electric buses here before. They didn't work. We even have a bus company right here in Winnipeg. Why not use them? Why don't we keep things local? Why do we go to Calgary, Alberta, and pay $2 million, $3 million, whatever it was, for them to do a blueprint of a bus route?
Shelley's probably got the best idea here in the chat. She says, why not hybrid buses? And, that would provide the best of both worlds. It would still get the buses to continue going.
Yeah, why not trolleys?
Horseback.
Their electric buses are going up and down the streets. That's what Winnipeg used to have.
You're not going to need a bus. You're only walking 15 minutes in the future. Winnipeg metropolitan region is not done.
So you figure citizens would be a little ticked off paying all this money. I mean, taxes have gone up, water's gone up, garbage has gone up, and it seems like they're wasting all this money. And a lot of people go, well, what are you going to do different, Mike? Where there's all these fees that they're paying to other companies outside Manitoba.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I definitely have an answer. The money is right there in the budget. All we have to do is allocate it in the proper direction. Easy as that.
100%. And again, I don't want to say the word, but if you doge the department, it gets to be overlooked by proper, estimators. And
how about an open book policy?
That's a good thing, too.
An open book policy, an open bid policy. The city of Winnipeg just bought a drone, or they put a bid out for drones. They didn't tell anybody. I mean, drones could be a good thing. I don't know if they're going to use it for fire, paramedics, or just spying on the average citizen. I'm not too sure. But
they're coming to your house right away.
It's a pretty expensive drone. I see them flying over your house.
They bought it for you.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, Mike, some people say that Winnipeg is fine and that people are overreacting to all this nonsense that we keep stirring a buzz about, but it's not fine.
Yeah, others say it's slowly falling apart, right? So you got to wonder, what it is. I think the city of Winnipeg has got problems. Some people say it's slowly falling apart. I think it is. Where do we stand? What's the truth? You got to wonder that. You got to ask yourself that question. I think a lot of citizens are asking themselves that question too. I think we need to make some major changes. I think in the next election, I believe that we need to get rid of every single councillor, every single mayor. There's only one, and we need to start all over again because I think the city's in big problems. The sewer budget this week, the crap everywhere. Main Street shut down, still down to only 2 lanes. Big problems in the city of Winnipeg, and I think that we need to come together during this next election. So just so you know, in May, you can register to be a mayoral candidate, and then if I'm going to do that, I could start giving you my platform.
Advertising, talking about what the solutions are, things like that, right?
And I've been holding off on that on purpose. A good poker player doesn't show the other people on the table their cards.
Right. No, that's right.
And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to keep the game alive. So I'm going to do that till May, and when May rolls around, I'll give you my platform, and we'll talk about the things that need to be changed. And there's lots that needs to be changed in the city of Winnipeg. And I drive by every day on the way to work. I drive by Higgins in Maine and in that area, and it breaks my heart every single day to see all those homeless people on the streets. Wouldn't it be nice to make it illegal in Winnipeg to be homeless?
Illegal, but at the same time, illegal.
But in a good way.
Yeah, that's right. In a way.
And we
helping.
can't talk anymore about that because one of my platform plans is going to be on that topic. Can't give away too much on it, but let's just say in the future, maybe we won't be seeing homeless people on the city. We're not going to pick them up and take them to jail and lock them in. You don't need to go to jail because you're homeless. What you need is rehab. You need help. And what we want to do with the citizens of Winnipeg is get them back on track.
You're going to offer them help. They're going to have to accept that help. And at some point, that's where they get back on track if they choose to get help. Now, not everybody's going to get help, Mike. You know that, and I know that. And some people are going to walk out the door and go, no, I'm not being a part of this because I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
I'll have to continue. So, look, collapse doesn't always look dramatic, but in this situation in Winnipeg, it kind of is dramatic, isn't it?
I think it's dramatic. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like people are just giving up.
And there's a lot of that too. I mean, people just don't know where to go, where to turn to, and that's the solution I think that you're kind of discussing, but you don't want to go too far with that discussion. But you know, that's the real help that we're talking about, right?
You know, the thing is, as a funeral director, I could tell you the other side that you don't see. The amount of suicides that we're doing in the city of Winnipeg is completely out of control. I've never seen a suicide rate so high. Between the drug overdoses and the suicides, we are losing a lot of people. And there's no coming back from that. And that's what happens when people give up. When they lose hope, when they lose faith, when they think that tomorrow is just not going to be a better day. And when we have all this negativity going on in the city, we don't have anyone talking positive. We don't have a mayor who's pumping up the citizens and saying, hey, we're going to make a better Winnipeg. We're going to do this for you. We're going to make Winnipeg a better place for your children to grow up. It's going to be a fun place for you to live. There's going to be more activities. We're going to bring downtown back alive. You know, have hope. None of that's happening. What's happening is a lot of rumbling, you know, on Facebook. So I think what we're seeing is a system that's kind of broken. Everything from safety to healthcare to transit to emergency services. It's all cracking down at the same time. And when multiple systems fail together, that's not coincidence. That's complete negligence.
And neglect.
And neglect. So I think what's happening is the people of Winnipeg are feeling neglected. With negligence comes with neglect.
I guarantee it.
It's terrible, you know, what's happened. And, you know, Sandra always talks about the Happy Land pool and how they took that away from the city of Winnipeg. And even now, the businesses in that area are suffering because they're down to one lane of traffic. And I think it's terrible. And I'm saying this out loud. It's because what I feel, it's my opinion, but I don't feel that the city council and mayor is taking care of businesses in the city of Winnipeg. The more you drive around, the more you see businesses closing. I know of a business personally on Main Street that's been trying to open now for almost 6 months. 6 months of hell with the city of Winnipeg. Instead of making it easier for businesses to operate in the city of Winnipeg, what we're doing is putting all kinds of roadblocks up. So I could tell you that this business is just about going broke because they put so much money into the business, into their lease that they've got to pay as the business is still closed, and yet they still can't open their doors. And to me, that's disturbing. And I witness it firsthand where the city of Winnipeg is attacking a funeral home that pays major taxes in the city of Winnipeg. Not one location, but 3 locations, just between the 2 alone, almost $70,000 in property tax. And that's not including the 3rd location, that's not including business tax. So why would you pick on a business that's creating jobs, that's keeping people employed, that's public safety, protecting their building, put cameras up, and all of a sudden you come down and you give me a fine for putting cameras up. But yet, I don't know of another business in the city of Winnipeg who has got a fine for having cameras up. To me, that's being prejudiced against myself and the business. And just because I said I'm going to be running for mayor and I'm going to put my name in the race doesn't mean you attack a person. So you got these bylaw officers that are completely out of control, like completely out of control. And I've talked with other businesses. And since I said I'm going to put my name in for the run for mayor, I probably get about 60 messages, maybe 70 every morning, people complaining, people telling me what's wrong, people saying the city is not business friendly. It's just not. And another business owner talked to me where they were almost 6 months battling it out with the city of Winnipeg and finally didn't even open up their doors. They just went broke in the process of trying to run a business and employ people. A city that cares about the citizens puts businesses first because business is what keeps the wheel turning. We're the ones that employ, the kids going to school, the part-time parents that need a part-time job, the people that, it's the small businesses that do that. And the more we push small businesses aside, and maybe that's the 2030 plan, you see the mom and pops shops disappearing everywhere. You remember you used to be able to go to the corner store and get your milk and your bread and whatever else you wanted. Well, those stores are getting pushed away And now it's the larger stores. And those larger stores are massive. And the small business just can't compete against these, Costco, for example, or Home Depot or Walmart. How do you compete against massive stores like that as a small business trying to make it in a city like Winnipeg? And there's a lot of other places in Canada that make it easy for businesses. They cut the red tape and they allow you to go in and run your business. It's bad enough that we got to deal with crime and the fear people have because of the crime in the city.
Absolutely. People don't feel safe anymore, and that's what this is all about. I mean, where does that safety start and stop? Who's there to regulate it? We say police, but it starts with the mayor, and it starts from top down. And downtown parking lots, neighborhoods. Why does fear feel so normalized now, Mike?
Well, I think because of the consequences people have. The consequences have been removed, right? So before there was a consequence. You broke us, you smashed the window, there'd be a consequence for you smashing the window. Now it's gone. When criminals know that they'll be released, but citizens know they're on their own, fear becomes reality. Families are changing the way they live. They're avoiding areas, locking their doors earlier, watching their backs. That's not freedom. That's survival. And it seems like that's what we're doing in the city of Winnipeg. Survival. You fear every little bit of everything because the police aren't going to come to your house if it's a break and enter or if they smash your car window and all the little things that happen. They just don't have the resources to do it. I don't speak from theory, by the way. I speak from loss. For those of you that know, my brother Vogiatzakis, gone. And it's been 2 years. And he won't even be sentenced for 2 years and 2 months after a guy was murdered. And that's part of the problem. These criminals know they're not going to stand in front of a judge. And when you speak from that, you speak from a broken heart and you want change. And one of the reasons I want to run for mayor is because in my brother's memory, I will make positive change in the city. Change is going to last forever. Change is going to put Winnipeg back on the map again. And no family should ever have to learn a lesson the hard way like we did.
All right, let's breathe for a second, Mike. There's a lot going on here, buddy. Transit, crime, issues with budgeting, overspending, allocating, all very, very important things as, you want to take on this mayoral run. I think that Mr. Mayor heard us talking recently and decided to say, hey, I better take a look at this transit situation. And I think that the transit situation, Winnipeg Transit took a look at it as well. Maybe watched our video too. But at the end of the day, we're not wrong in what we're talking about here. We just have to try to somehow get it implemented. So transit,
Brad,
left people behind, didn't it?
Transit's basic. Like, why would you, something that's not broke, why would you try and fix it? They could have added.
Well, I
to
think
transit.
that has to do with the 2030 agenda, Mike.
Yeah,
and that's,
for sure.
That's something for sure that we need to talk about. But
But
for
I
the
think,
here and now.
Why would you leave people stranded? It's the poor, mom with her child trying to go to daycare, or those parents that have to go to the store and carry their groceries on a bus, the students going to school, the people that are struggling with disabilities. And if you look at some of the sidewalks, and tomorrow when you're driving to work or if you're on a bus, the sidewalks are the last things they clean. But the other day, a guy sent me a picture of, get this, a brand new loader doing the bike paths. The bike paths nobody uses in the middle of the winter.
Not for long. This is all part of the 2030 agenda, Mike, and you know it.
It's driving me crazy that the citizens of the city are hurting so bad. And Brad, it's bad enough. I went to the store the other day, and you walk out of the store with a bag that's not even heavy, and it costs you $150.
You're right.
So I really feel for these parents that are struggling because they're trying to make a living and they want to put their kids through sports and they want to do the right thing for their kids, but they have to choose between medicine and food. And that's happening to a lot of the elderly people. I did arrangements for a gentleman the other day who came in, and he's got stage 4 cancer, and he cried. This was an 80-year-old man who broke out and cried and said to me exactly that. He goes, Mike, I have to choose between my medicine and food. This is an 80-year-old man who worked his whole life for the railway. And this is what he stuck with at the end, choosing whether he should take his medication or have a bowl of soup to eat. It's just wrong. And what they're doing to Canadians all around is wrong. The food prices are out of control, and families are seriously struggling to the point where some of them just don't know how they're going to get out of it. And yes, if you're talking about the 2030 plan, that is the plan. To cause chaos on our streets, to have families hungry, to have criminals on the loose.
You stay home.
Stay home.
That's it. So look, you went like full circle there, of course. Not unexpected when you get into this because there's a lot to say. But the reality is that we got to get back to transit. So let's get back on topic with transit. Changes have caused outrage, right? And there's no doubt about that. So what's going on there?
Well, with the outrage, seniors are in the cold. Disabled citizens walking long distances. Parents with young kids are stranded.
How do we get here?
How did we get here? How did we get here when everything was perfect a little while ago? We got here because planners stopped listening to the people who actually rely on transit. Public transit is not optional for thousands of Winnipeggers. It's their connection to work, to dignity, to survival. And when you take that away from them, they're lost. When you remove a bus stop, they removed 1,200 bus stops. You don't remove inconvenience. You remove access. Access for people who need it most. And when you need it most, that's when your heart hurts.
What, you design a city from spreadsheets, don't you?
Oh, I mean, that's what they seem to do. You know, you call a company in Calgary and you say, hey, we need a new transit system. Can you help us out here?
Yeah, help us out with your fire department, too. I mean, look what's happening here. You can't base things on other cities. You have to look internally with what's going on in your own neighborhood.
One thing I'll tell you is if I become mayor of Winnipeg, I will not send things outside Winnipeg. Winnipeggers should choose what happens in Winnipeg. Who knows best what's best for your city?
You spelt when wrong.
When? Oh yeah, yes. That's right. And you know what? While I'm talking, I just want to thank all the people online for the huge amount of support that I've been getting when that question comes up, and that really motivates me. And it shows that Winnipeggers care. It shows that Winnipeggers do want change. Winnipeggers want a better future for their children and their grandchildren, and a better retirement for themselves. And I hate to say trust me, so I won't, but I'll say it will happen, and we will do it together. It's not a one-person team. And, you know, when you do something like that, it's a whole council that has to agree on things. A mayor's got to get hooked up with a council that wants to change Winnipeg for the better. I don't care about your 2030 plan. I'm not part of that. I don't care about the rich and wealthy who think they're going to call the shots. Not going to happen with me. I'm an average Winnipeg citizen, just like you. I work every day. I have a family. I have a kid who went through hockey. I coached hockey for years, and I know what it's like to be on the streets. I grew up on Toronto Street, and I was the oldest of 4 boys. And you know what? You had to learn the hard way when your parents spoke Greek to you, and you knew more Greek than you did English, and you had to learn the hard way, you know?
Absolutely. So the system, the failure, and then there's the people paying the price, and that's a big part of this too. And it's causing all kinds of problems financially, health-wise, not only with personal health on individuals, but mental health as well. Healthcare from the end of the story. We've got to kind of figure out all of this. It's so important that we're taking care of people, and that's something that healthcare, 12-hour, 15-hour waits in emergency. How long did Mike wait yesterday?
So, Mike went into the hospital, and that's something I wanted to talk about with healthcare. So he went to 2 hospitals. First, he went to St. B.
Yeah.
And they found nothing wrong with him.
Not a cardiac situation then.
Well, they went in there and they did the cardiac check on him right away.
Right, and then they sent him somewhere else.
And then they sent him home.
Oh, home.
They said, you're fine.
Oh.
And this is what happens. I'm going to tell you what happens as a funeral director. I see this far too often. People go to the hospital. They go there because they know there's a problem. Your body's like a car. It tells you when something's wrong. Listen to your body. Just like if you hear your car muffler going, boom, 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 you know you need to get to a muffler shop, right? If your body's failing you and you go to the hospital, you need to push them and say, look, there's something wrong. Don't send me home. I don't want to die. So what I see a lot is families go to the hospital. They actually make that move. They wait in the waiting room for, 25 hours, 29 hours. They get to see a doctor, and the doctor says, oh, you'll be fine. Take a couple of these and go home. And guess who gets the call in the morning? The funeral director, because the person died. And that's when a system fails you. That's when a system terribly fails you. And Mike McIver would have been one of those people. The system would have failed him. So here's what happened. He's at the crematorium working, and he's lucky that my son Josh was there.
Yeah.
Because Mike usually goes on his own, and the guys take a van each, they go out and do their thing, and they meet at the crematorium. And when it happened, Josh was there, and Josh was able to call an ambulance, and Mike was able to make it to the hospital. And if it wasn't for that, even a nurse I talked to yesterday said more than likely Mike wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for your son. So good job, Josh. A lot of panic for a 24-year-old where somebody's having a heart attack or a stroke in front of you, and you don't know what you do. As a matter of fact, Josh panicked a lot, where the paramedic said, what's your address? And he said, can't you just check my phone location? That's what happens when you panic. But they managed to get the 911, get the ambulance there. So anyways, they take him to the hospital, and he sits there for another 8 hours after getting brought there by an ambulance. They take him in, they do the tests on him, and finally realize that he's had a minor stroke.
Yeah.
But sometimes they say every minor stroke is followed by
The severe one.
the severe one.
That's right.
So, I'm hoping it might get better. But yes, the system is failing us. And it's not the good workers like the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare aides, and all the people working in the hospitals. It's not your faults. You're great people. You go there and you try to make a difference every day of the week. It's the systems and procedures that are failing us. And we need to make a change. It's completely wrong for Canadian citizens to be waiting 29 hours at a hospital to get care. And a few weeks ago, everyone heard about this, 30 hours. A lady waited in the hospital and ended up dying in emergency rooms in Canada. There's a problem when that happens. And there's another problem when we sit here and allow it to happen and we don't demand change. If you see what's happening right across Europe, they've said enough's enough. Enough is enough. They've gone to the streets and they're battling out the government.
Yeah.
And we're not going to take this. We're not going to take this anymore. And when are Canadians going to finally say, enough's enough? We've had enough. You work hard, you pay taxes keep going up every year, your water goes up, your garbage goes up, your wages don't go up.
They're not.
And nobody does anything about it. Wab Kinu's the premier. Put pressure on Wab. It's not the mayor. I could tell you one thing a lot of people say to me, oh, well, you don't know civic politics. Well, I could tell you I do, and I know it really well. When I speak about healthcare, when I speak about issues that the mayor has nothing to do with, you're right. And I know that already. But what the mayor does have is one of the most powerful voices in the city, where he could talk to the premier, and he could reach out to the federal and provincial government. He could reach out to the prime minister's office, and he can ask for help and say, our city's in desperate need of help. We need change. If you have a mayor who's active, who cares about the city and fights, you're going to be a winning city. You need a mayor who's going to go 12 rounds. Whether he gets knocked out, he gets back up and continues to fight until those 12 rounds are over.
All right, Mike, guess what? We're going to take a quick short break, go to a commercial. We'll be back with more with the Mike Vogiatzakis Show coming up right after this.
Everlasting Memorials are Manitoba's memorial specialists. Are you looking for a memorial for your loved one or yourself? The team of expert memorial design consultants at Everlasting Memorials provides a variety of high-quality granite, marble, and bronze products in many styles, sizes, and colors. Additionally, we also produce cremation urns, pet memorials, statues, vases, and other grave accessories for you to choose from. Our in-house stonemason, graphic artist, sandblasting booth, and laser etching machine can make your design fully customized so it suits the memory. Established in 1986, we're a family business with a commitment to provide compassionate memorial products for the departed. Some of our work can be seen in small towns and big city cemeteries, parks and trails, as well as heritage sites all throughout Canada. We can help you choose a memorial that best represents the essence of a person's life. Everlasting Memorials, for the comfort of peace and remembrance. Visit us online to book your free consultation at everlastingmemorials.ca.
All right, there we go. Mike had a little bit of a break there just to kind of get ourselves reorganized for a second, grab a quick drink, and we're back. So, look, families aren't shocked anymore. We've been talking about a multitude of topics tonight, but transit to crime to, budgeting and all
We're climbing
this
up
stuff.
that hill today. Just
Yeah,
all over the place.
That's right.
Hey,
But families aren't shocked anymore, that terrifies people because they're not so surprised at what's going on in Winnipeg, are they?
No, it is terrifying. They tell me they waited. They tell me that they were sent home when I talked about this. They tell me that no one listened. This is the stuff I hear from families. By the time I meet them, the system has already failed them. A healthcare system that treats people like numbers eventually turns people into statistics. I want you to remember that. If they don't listen to you, you turn into a statistic. What does that mean? That you die.
Yeah,
And we
that's
need
right.
better than that. We need better than that for our moms and our dads and our brothers and sisters. We need a voice. We need a voice that cares, that stands up, that's going to make a difference. The only way we're going to make a difference in the city is by standing up and fighting back. That's it. Somebody
story.
who's actually going to do that. Somebody who's not going to sit back and be mellow, collect his paycheck, go home at the end of the day, make changes. We talk about transit. If I was the mayor of the city and I saw the flashback, the lashback that's coming back to the city, I would just say, listen, we spent $2 million or $3 million. We wasted our money. Let's just put it back to the way it was, and then we'll work from there and add to what we had. Why wouldn't you add to what you have? Why would you just take 1,200 bus stops away and leave all these people stranded, and all of a sudden they're stuck, they can't get to work, they're late.
Don't worry about it. You only got 1,200 bus stops to put in now once you get in charge.
How much did it cost? How much did it cost the city of Winnipeg to remove 1,200 bus stops?
Oh, a lot.
You know what, Brad?
It's like cutting down the trees on Broadway.
I know we're all over the place, but I get so frustrated because I think about Portage and Main, and that frustrates me. There was $75 million. I think about so the mayor put a podcast together, and this is funny. The mayor you'd be really wealthy right now if you could do that. Like I'm talking about money falling out of your pocket. So he paid.
Oh, I didn't tell you. The bill goes up in 2026, buddy. There's
Scott
a
Gillingham
revamp.
paid $35,000 of your tax money to put a podcast together that 70 people listen to.
Yeah, that's it.
70 people. Our podcast that we're doing, last week's podcast with almost 9,500 people watched the podcast last week. So when you're spending money on putting those,
I got to charge more.
what do you call those circling curbs, the curbs that they're putting in? The slow curbs
Yeah.
that they're going to knock out this year, by the way, when they're doing snow removal.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's going to be a waste of money. And why don't we close streets and just paint them up and make them a playground for people? Right in a busy part of downtown Winnipeg. We'll just close those streets, and that's exactly what he did. Anyways, let's get on with the show because I get really pumped up talking about this stuff.
I kept waiting for the rainbow to arrive. Okay, so people stop believing that help is coming. Desperation can set in, Mike. This isn't just about crime. Desperation sets in when you're waiting for the bus now in Winnipeg, doesn't it? It's minus 35, it's a wind chill of minus 45, and you're still standing there waiting, and it's 50 minutes late.
Yeah. I want to, Alexander's saying something right now, which makes a lot of sense. Plans on property taxes and water bills, Mike. Water bills have doubled in the last 2 years. I know, and it's crazy. And why would you do this to the citizens of Winnipeg? I mean, paying a $400 or $500 water bill, some $800 water bill. I see the bills we're paying at the funeral home. It's ridiculous, the money that they're charging for water. Who'd ever think that you'd be paying that? And don't they realize that the average family just can't afford that? They're not making the salary, a mayor or these councillors are making. Do they need to be set into reality and realize that we don't need calming curves? That we didn't need Portage and Main opening? And then they said, oh, well, traffic's exactly the same. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because there's no one walking across Portage and Main. That's why. It's like 40 below. You going to walk across Portage-Germain?
Never.
Let's talk about the firefighters. Let's talk about what they're doing and their betrayal and City Hall and everything else is going on with them.
Okay, well, we've seen firefighters at City Hall fighting for more staff, obviously. That's one issue. These people are, they run towards danger. They don't walk. They're starting to get exhausted now. Why should every Winnipegger be paying attention to this, Mike?
Well, I mean, that's an important topic, and we should be paying attention because it's important to people. Our firefighters are our heroes. Our heroes that run into fires when people are running out of fires, when there's a car accident, when there's something happening on the streets. What's happening? It's the firefighters and the paramedics running because they're firefighters and they're burnt out and response times are suffering and people die because of it. These men and women are not asking for luxuries. They're asking for enough staffing to do their jobs safely.
And it's not just staffing, but equipment too, for that matter. You got to be able to reach those towers.
We had Nick on our show, Nick Casper, and he actually said to us, get this, that they have a junkyard kind of thing where they have old fire trucks, and they're actually taking parts off old fire trucks to keep the new ones running. That's in a city that's spending all kinds of money on nonsense. Isn't that crazy? That our fire trucks that are on the road, in his words, some of them are just not safe.
Absolutely. You can't keep asking first responders to carry the weight of a city alone, Mike, can you?
No, and that's what happens when firefighters are forced to beg for resources. That's when leadership has failed. That's not a labor issue.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a budgeting issue in a sense because you've got to allocate the right amount of funds to get this stuff done. And
a city
again, you're throwing good money at bad things.
Yeah.
I mean, how many NGOs does this city have? There's one on every street corner.
A city that fails its first responders eventually fails its citizens. That's a real thing that should go into your head. When you're failing the people that you count on most, you're failing your citizens even more.
Yeah, you're right. And then not only fire, but we've got paramedics who are in the same boat, police that are in the same boat, and it's all due to overload. And it's not overload necessarily because the staff are, they've got a wild party life on the side and they're working, and it's got to do with system overload. So standard operating procedures, having the right equipment, making sure that you can do your safety evaluations quickly and efficiently so that, people aren't going to die.
Yeah. It's true about that. And
firefighters aren't alone, though, are they? Paramedics are burnt out. Police are stretched thin. What happens when emergency services hit a breaking point, Mike? What happens?
Yeah, it's that's a real issue. Response becomes delayed. Mistakes increase. Trauma compounds. These are machines. These are not human beings carrying the unbearable stress. Burnout isn't weakness. Burnout is what happens when leadership refuses to act.
Absolutely. And who takes action first? Where does that come from? Does it come from the guy that's in the accounting department at the city hall, or does that have to stretch all the way to the mayor?
People need to realize that the mayor holds a major role in the city of Winnipeg. Not only is he the leader of the city of Winnipeg, he makes the decisions, he takes them to council votes on them together, but he's the voice.
So now we're getting into leadership, right?
And what you should be doing as a leader is, I'm going to tell you something. When I run for mayor, I'm going to do something different that no candidate's ever done. When I don't know the answer to a question that's got to do with money, you're going to
wear pants on the podcast?
I'm going to have an accountant sitting beside me, and the accountant will answer that question. The person who's gone through the City of Winnipeg books, ripped them apart, knows exactly what's wrong, who's going to be leading me in the right direction by saying, hey, Mike, I'm an accountant, I'm a CPA.
Do this and
this
happens.
is what I do for a living. Listen to me.
Yep.
So why would I, as a funeral director, try to read a statement that doesn't make as much sense to me as it does to an accountant? So leadership is accountability. And you know what? When there's silence, there's no accountability.
People feel ignored, emails unanswered, decisions announced instead of discussed. There's a lot missing right now in this city. Decisions are being backroomed, and Winnipeggers don't really have a say. So, look, the whole country's kind of gone like that with Bill C-3 going through this past week, and that's another concern that we could bring up, but let's just stick with what we're targeting in on here tonight. But it's the same principles. It's the same everything. We're just seeing it on a local level now instead of a federal level.
That's correct, yeah.
So leadership, what? It's been mistaken for
Silence for strength. So when they have silence, they feel they have strength, right? Real leadership listens, especially when it's uncomfortable. When it's uncomfortable to hear what you don't want to hear, that's when you need to listen the most. People are not asking for perfection. They're asking for honesty, transparency, and a little bit of respect.
Are you prepared to give that to them, Mike?
I'm going to give them all three of those every time I do something. Anything I do will be done for the people. People have told me this over and over. You're our voice. You have a platform. You're speaking. You're saying what we want to say, and we just can't say it. And I'm glad to do it, and I'm glad to speak, and I'm glad to make change, and I'm glad to do it for you and for a future generation who really needs it. Without proper leadership, our city has no future.
That's right.
It really doesn't.
There's other leaders that would like to lead this city, and I don't know that the future even has a mayoral position involved when it comes to the 2030 agenda, but, you know.
Why do people feel hopeless, Brad?
Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons people feel hopeless, Mike. It's a sad situation, and that we're all faced with here across the country, not only in Winnipeg alone, but a lot of people watching feel tired, weak. Some are angry, worn down. Why is that? What do you take away?
Well, you know what I mean. With all those things that you said, it's truth. It's what people are feeling in their hearts, right? This hopelessness doesn't come from hard times. It comes from being ignored during those hard times. And that's a big thing that I just said. You know, it's when you're not heard and you're not understood and nothing's happening, but you're reaching out and you're asking for help, and that help just isn't there.
True story.
And then that gives you hopelessness, and you feel like you're not heard, and you're paying all these taxes, and you're paying all this money out of your hard-working money only to be ignored.
Hey, Sandra says something here today. She says you should have heard the lady firefighter today at City Hall when she told what they go through. There's so many things. Can you scroll back up, please?
Yeah, I can't get the scroller to work. You want to try it?
Yeah, you just got to press the button.
Oh.
So let's just.
You mean all this time all I have to do is press a button?
All I got to do is press the button. So when she told what they go through and how they, the screaming of parents and a 3-year-old's cold skin are things that they never forget. You know, we need them and they need time off to keep their sanity. Still can't get over what they were instructed to wear. Their shirts backwards, dressing them down. Really sick and twisted people at City Hall. So what was that about? They had to turn their shirts backwards, or?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I know that
was that a Nick Casper maybe thing?
No, I know a female firefighter spoke today, and she caught everyone's attention. And you know, here's the problem: when your resources are lacking, this is what no firefighter wants to do. When you have to go to a house, and instead of telling the family member that we're going to save your daughter, you know, she's going to be okay, we're going to get her to the hospital, we're going to do our best, but instead these firefighters have to go in and tell parents, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. Your little one is gone. And think about the heartbreak of a firefighter or a paramedic having to tell a mom or dad that their child is gone. Why? Because the delay in the time of getting there. We talk about this over and over about delays. It's almost like God puts you in situations where you have to be in that situation because you need to learn. You know, my father-in-law sat on let's just talk about this guy, this 93-year-old guy for 1 minute, and it's going to put a whole bunch of things into perspective. A 93-year-old guy falls on his lawn, my father-in-law. They tell him it's not a priority. He waits 3 hours for the fire department or paramedics to arrive. In that 3-hour time, the family gets a phone call saying, we have nobody available. It's going to be another 3 hours. We have a 93-year-old man lying on his grass for 6 hours before a paramedic shows up to take him to the hospital, screaming in agonizing pain. He's got a shattered hip. Then I want to talk more about this gentleman because I'm really frustrated with the system, and you're going to find out why. So he goes to Concordia Hospital where they do a hip replacement. Great. Good job. They did a really good job trying to get him to start walking and all the things they needed to do. They sent him to Seven Oaks Hospital. Seven Oaks Hospital gives him great care, but the 93-year-old guy falls and breaks his other hip in the care of a hospital, second time. Again, it's not the hard workers, the doctors or the nurses. It's the system that's failing people. 93-year-old guy now, 2 broken hips. Gets transferred over to Grace Hospital. Again, good care. But I want to tell you what I experienced at Grace Hospital the other day, actually. I'm in the room, and this lady next door to my father-in-law says to the guy who comes to her bed, you know, my diaper has been soiled for 4 hours. Can you please help me? Could you please change my diaper? The guy says, yeah, I'll be right back. So I sat in that room for another hour as this lady was crying in her bed because she's sitting there with a diaper that's soiled. And she's losing her dignity. All the dignity she has because she asked for help. And then when I left an hour later, this almost puts tears in my eyes because I get so frustrated. I walk past this guy an hour later, and he's sitting having coffee, reading the paper and joking with his coworkers. And I wanted to snap on this guy and say to him, hey, like you left a lady soiled in her room when she asked you for help, and you said you're going to help her and you never came back. But I just walked away. But when I think back, I should have said something. So anyways, my father-in-law gets transferred now to another hospital. So they're taking this 93-year-old guy and bouncing him around from place to place to place. He's confused. He's got dementia kicking in. He's struggling. What happens when he gets to Misericordia Hospital? He's in their care for 3 hours. Boom! Hits the floor again. 3 hours later. What did they tell the family? Oh, well, you got to pay for the beeper that we put underneath him. That's something you got to pay for. Well, you didn't have to pay for it at the other hospitals. It was part of the system. So here he is now with, broken elbow, broken arm, and this 93-year-old guy who worked so hard all his life, raised a family, paid taxes, and what happened at the end of his life? The system is failing him. The system is failing this 93-year-old guy. Why? Because we don't have the right systems and procedures in place. We don't have enough staff working at the hospitals. We don't have enough people taking care of our elderly. And to me, that's heartbreaking.
So lots of comments coming in online.
I'd like to read
day.
some of those comments.
Well, not only here, but I'm talking more about the ones that you get through your posts that you post online. There's been some pushback from individuals in Winnipeg who don't understand your character necessarily, but you had a post, I think, a week ago that kind of explained who you are and what you're about, and it's sort of like that Eminem thing where you flip the script on them, you tell them about yourself before they can start lying about you, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I've done things wrong in my life. I've fallen and gotten back up and learned from my mistakes, but that's what makes you a better person. I'm not saying that I'm better than any of you. I'm saying I'm the same as you.
His mom's just tougher than yours.
Yeah, my mom will kick my butt. But what I'm saying is you learn from your mistakes, and I say this all the time. You have a pencil, and a pencil has an eraser on top of it, and that's for a reason. So you can erase everything on the page and start all over again. And your mistakes make you a better person. They make you the person who you are today. What pushed me over the edge? Do I have to be mayor of the city? No. I'm very comfortable as a funeral director. I do very well as a funeral director, and I love helping families who lose loved ones. I love being compassionate and caring and understanding and carrying a family through their darkest hour. And that's what I've done for 27 years. It's been there.
You are dealing with death when you become the mayor of this city. I hate to say that way, but that's
Brad,
the
there's
truth.
nothing I haven't dealt with. I've dealt with drug overdoses. I've dealt with suicides. I've dealt with mental illness. I've dealt with anything you could possibly deal with. And I just tell people, if you're putting me down and you're saying nasty things about me, how about try meeting me? How about trying coming, having a coffee with me, sitting face to face, and getting to know my heart and who I really am as a person.
Are you buying?
I'll buy. And what am I doing for you? What am I going to do for you? And why am I doing this in the first place? I'm doing this because I love this city. I'm doing this because my brother Kyriakis was murdered on the very streets that he loved, the streets that he employed people on, the streets that he loved, the St. James area where he gave every Christmas to families who were hungry. Even the guy who killed him, my brother fed him. I want to give back to the city of Winnipeg, and I want to do it in my brother's memory. And I'll use every little bit of strength that I have left in my body.
And the cool thing is Mike's previous, employment or business was Roadshow Sound, Midnight
Sound,
Midnight Sound. And when we go back to those times, you've been to every part of the city. You've been to every community hall. You've been to now every church in the city, not only for weddings, but now for funerals. I mean, think of the people that know you, and we just have to get everybody out there that's online and watching the show on a weekly basis to help us out. We need you to like, share, follow. And once you do that, the message gets out there. More Winnipeggers are going to be right here with us every Wednesday night, and that's the goal of ours, is to try to build this show up so that we, can reach more and get more people like-minded about the changes that need to happen here.
And then we got guys like Al Bueller complaining already. Look,
well, no, he just wants to be said hi to. Come on now,
okay.
Al.
Actually,
hey,
Al's been right out there pushing the name and stuff. You know what I think is going to happen in this next election? I just can't wait. Like, the first platform that I'm ever going to release will be right here with Brad. And we're going to be using the Mike Vogiatzakis show to take us right through the mayor run. Brad will be at every single event. He'll be recording it. We'll be talking to people. But I got a funny feeling the city of Winnipeg's in for a real big surprise. I think there's going to be a lot of people turning out when I go speak. And what I think more than anything, I think this is going to be the largest turnout of any civic election in the history of Winnipeg. There was a mayor in the city of Winnipeg years ago. His name was Mayor Juba. And he had a vision for the city. And one of his visions were to put light rail in. And he had a vision that was nobody else could see but him. And if he would have put his vision to work, the city would be a different place today. It would be in tune with Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal, with all the latest and greatest things that these cities have.
You wouldn't be worrying about buses as much, that's for sure.
And you know what? And I want to be that next guy. I want to be that Mayor Juba who has a vision for the city, for your families, to make it a city that's going to be a city that you love again. Because let me tell you, the people in Winnipeg are incredible. The people in Winnipeg are probably the most amazing people in all of Canada.
It wasn't called Friendly Manitoba on the license plate
We're
for decades.
We're kind, we're loving, we're giving, we're everything you could possibly want in people. And you know what? When there's a situation in the city that fails a family, Winnipeggers are there to help. Winnipeg's a great place. I love Winnipeg. I'll fight for Winnipeg. And just like my brother did, my brother used to think that he was going to change Winnipeg and he was going to make Winnipeg a great place for everyone. And he started in St. James. And unfortunately, his life was cut short. But I'll continue on for little brother there. And hey, like I said, if I don't do the right thing, my mom's going to kick my ass.
She will, too.
I'm going to even get my ass kicked now because I said ass on the phone.
Well,
the show.
There we go, Mike. We've brought it to full fruition tonight. Lots to talk about, not only next week, but the week after that and the week after that. There's let's talk about the weeks coming up, because obviously we've got the next
Christmas coming up.
Next Wednesday night is Christmas Eve. Will you do the show on Wednesday? Or
I'm not too sure, because Christmas Eve we usually have a family gathering. Sure. I'm big into family. And I'm big into family gatherings. And
I'll just come there. I'll just come to your house with the cameras. We'll just get everybody in there.
It's Christmas is a time where you should spend with family and friends and love and forgive.
So, okay, the week after that is New Year's Eve on the Wednesday. Are we going to do the rockin' New Year's Eve show?
Maybe. I want to leave you with one story. This is a really, really important story, and it gives me shivers every time I talk about the story and right now. So stay with us for a couple minutes. And I want to talk about COVID. And I want to talk about a father and mother. And I want to talk about a kid who was going through medical school. And this poor kid was working so hard to become a doctor. And when COVID hit, he got kicked out of school because he refused to get vaccinated. And through that time, he'd lost all his friends who were medical students that he was going to school with, and nobody wanted to hang out with him. He wasn't good enough because he wasn't vaccinated. A short while later, he lost his job. The only thing that was keeping him afloat, because he wouldn't get vaccinated. And they said, hey, unfortunately, you can't be here. And he lost his job. So there he was in his apartment, all alone. And thinking about, I guess, how he was going to make ends meet. And the phone rang. It was a couple of weeks before Christmas. And it was his mom and dad. And he hadn't talked to anyone for a while. And he was so excited to hear from his mom and dad. He said, Mom, Dad, I'm so happy to hear from you. And he said to them, I just can't wait to come over for Christmas. And his mom and dad stopped him on the phone. They said, Son, we got some bad news for you. We can't have you over for Christmas this year. You're not vaccinated. And we don't want to get you sick, and we don't want you to get us sick, and we don't want anyone to die. So the son says, Mom, Dad, I love you unconditionally, and I understand. And the reason I know this story is because I read the suicide note. And I remember clearly in my heart, it was a week before Christmas, maybe a few days, and we were in the chapel of the funeral home, and there was the mom and dad standing over their son's casket after he committed suicide. And I remember the dad saying these words, if I can only turn back time. If I can only turn back time. And he kept saying that over and over again. And I said to him, Sir, we can't turn back time. This is what we got to deal with today. The reason I'm sharing this story with you is during Christmas, love each other, care for each other, invite family over. For those people that are alone, your neighbors or whoever, reach out and say hello to them and Merry Christmas. It's a time where we all need to love and care for each other. There's a special reason for this season, and his name is Jesus. Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas and
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year, and we'll see you
wish
back
you
here.
a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you and a Happy New Year.
We'll keep you updated on when we're back. Follow us online, like, share, and pass this around. We'll see you guys in 2026. Good night, everybody.